Hi everyone, and hello, welcome to this video. So today what we're going to cover is index buffer, and index buffer. The idea is very simple. As you can see here, previously we had like four vertices, six vertices, but to describe four corners, right? And some of them were duplicates, basically, like this bottom right vertex that we have here, and then probably like this top left vertex as well. So idea behind index buffer is it's very simple. So instead of like having a buffer, and let's say we had v0 here, v1 here, v2 here, or actually no here, actually here, right? And then to describe our first triangle, which is here, and then to describe the second one, we had, for example, v3 here again, but maybe we had here v4 and then we had like v0 again to describe this triangle right over here. So it was something like this: v0, v1, v3 for the first one, then v3 again, v4, and v0. But the idea behind the index buffer is instead of doing this, you have like just v0, v1, v2 and v3, but then you use second buffer, which is called the index buffer, and then you just do like 1, 0, 1, 2 to reference the vertices, right? And then maybe you're going to have like 2 again, right? In this case 3 and then 0 again, because we were referencing this here, right? Then sorry, this here, and then the first one in order to create this second triangle, right? So instead of like having this, we're going to use indices. Anyway, you're going to get it once we do it. So I'm not going to waste too much time here. Let's try to get started with it. And obvious start for me would be just like maybe create an index buffer here, and then we're going to create a till class as usual, and we're going to see what we're going to need. Since it's going to be very similar to our vertex buffer, I might even copy some parts of it, and then we can just modify stuff as we go around. And the main difference, this is not going to be templated class like our vertex buffer, because we don't need it. So let's say here buffers, and move this here. So let's take a look at the vertex buffer. I'm just going to copy this stuff, and then I'm going to modify. So it's not going to be templated class. We can say here index buffer. Renderer, we do need. Vector, we're going to need it, but this time we're going to use unsigned int. And you can also use shorts, and that's good strategy. I'm going to use ints, which are a bit larger, but if you use shorts, you can have smaller buffers and therefore use less memory. The thing with the shorts is like the maximum amount of unsigned short is like 16,000 something. So if you have like the model that has like 20,000 vertices, it's not going to work, right? So it's for smaller models, but you can use it. Like it's a good strategy to like keep memory low as well, because on shorts you save 2 bytes, right? But here I'm not going to worry about it for this series. So we're just going to create a vector here. We don't have vertex count. We're going to need count, but it's going to be index count, of course, but we can get that straight from the data. The bug name we're going to use, so we're going to leave that here. It's not called vertex buffer anymore, it's called index buffer. It's going to be in constructor, but so I'm just going to take this, and then we can do something like a definition, right? So it's in our index buffer CPP, as you can see, and here's our definition. So this is going to be index count, and of course index count is very easy to get. We can just use data.size, and we're going to have to create it, and we're going to leave this buffer until here, and then we're just going to create another method which is going to be for the index buffer. Going back to our age class, so get buffer, this is all right. It's a buffer, there is no difference here. but here it's going to be get index count, and here it's index count. I'm going to save it, place it here, and the rest of the data here seems fine, so we can just leave it as is. So now we're just going to go to our buffer util, and we don't have to use template either here, so I'm just going to copy paste this real quickly. Once again, this is going to be a very short video with this amount of copy pasting. Then we can say index buffer here. We're going to say unsigned int, and the rest of it we can just copy because we're going to need it, or cut it. We don't have util class here, so I'm just going to go to new and then new item. We need our buffer util. It says that it already exists, which means for my case it kind of exists, but it's not included. So I'm just going to include it in project. Move buffer util to our util class, and that's quite all right. And then here I'm just going to say create definition. So definition is here. Let's copy paste. So index buffer is kind of similar to vertex buffer. We just need to change a couple of things because here we're dealing with unsigned ints. So it's going to be unsigned integer. Of course, it's not in the vertex buffer anymore. It's index buffer. Then I think the rest of it can even remain the same. We still want it to be immutable. We changed our byte width. That's the only thing that we need to change. And then it's an index buffer data. We still get it in. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we probably don't need to change much here besides this. And then in our buffer util, we're just going to say create index buffer, remove the T, and we're done here. Then in our game, okay, we're still not done because we can create it, but we need to paste it in, right, to our pipeline, which was position color vertex. No, sorry, my bad. Position color pipeline. So here we can say include index buffer, and we can create an overload, right? That's probably even better because then you have two examples of it. And then we can just say const here index buffer. Let's create new definition in our pipelines. Let's find it. And here I'm just going to copy paste this because I'm lazy and because it's also very similar. So we can leave this as is. We can just say context, and then we have similar call method set index buffer. We can set our index buffer, and this is a good suggestion. So important thing here is the format, right? So you want 32, right? Because your unsigned integer is 32 bits, 4 bytes or 32 bits. If you want to use shorts, right, you cannot use this format. You actually have to use 16, right? And I'm not quite sure. I know in OpenGL that you can use this as well. Maybe it has it, maybe it doesn't. So the bytes as well. But then with bytes you have 255 places, so that's not super useful, or 256. So not super useful here, but the short is very useful if you want to save on memory. But for us, 32 is going to be fine. The rest can remain the same except for the draw method, because we're now saying draw index. We're not getting the vertex count, actually, we're getting the index count. So index buffer, get index count. And then we can skip indices or vertices. We're not doing that, so 0, 0. And I think we're done here. Let me see if I missed something. No, probably no. Most likely yes, but let's see. So our vertices, we can change this a bit. So the first triangle we're going to leave, and then we're just going to delete these two vertices, which is top left vertex, and then bottom right vertex as well. So we're left, right, with our 4 corners. That's good. And then it's the vector, unsigning. And I'm not going to do math because this needs to be like in proper order. So I'm just going to leave it here to this suggestion and then create it. If it's not right, we can fix it later. So let's try here. But as you can see, like this is referencing our first triangle. So these 3 vertices, and then this one references the first one, the fourth one, and then the second one. So I guess it's right. So we create our index buffer, and then we can just use it. And the moment of truth, where nothing works, or maybe everything works, let's see. I have a feeling that I missed something. Oh wow, it works. Yeah, so as you can see, the colors are now properly aligned, and yeah, this was very quick actually, so very good. Anyway, that's it for this video. So hopefully you understood the index buffer. It's very easy, right? You just like you just define your corners, which in our case are obviously these 4 corners, and then instead of duplicating vertices, you're actually duplicating indices, right? And then you just y indices reference this. And why is this useful? Well, if you look at the size, like each additional vertex was here, like 3 components here, and then 4 components here, right, for each one. But like to actually reference it, you just need like one single index, which can be even 2 bytes instead of 4. And this is like 3 times 4, right? And then plus 4 times 4, right? For the bytes, 28 bytes, as opposed to like 4 or 2 bytes if you use shorts. So if you wanna, I would recommend maybe creating another index buffer, short index buffer, something like that, if you wanna have fun. But that's it for this video, and next time we're going to do texturing. So if you like the video, maybe like, subscribe, leave a comment, and until next time.